Hello. As promised, I wanted to also offer a video where I talk you through the most important parts of the syllabus and schedule. So here we are. Syllabus is an important document for this course as it will provide answers to the most of the questions that I commonly receive. Having said that though, there is nothing wrong with asking. Feel free to send me a message here on Blackboard, or we can solve any concerns once we meet in a class for the first session. I also want to note that sometimes situations arise where I need to make adjustments and or changes to these documents. If I do so, I will always let you know and upload the most recent version here to Blackboard. So I guess what I'm saying is that I reserve the right to make changes. As we look at the syllabus, there is a lot of information there. I will highlight only some of these, so please read it in full. I also want to note that since this is a hybrid course, I'm going to assume that you are familiar with and comfortable with navigating our learning management system Blackboard and most other online resources as well as using computers. I do not have an official office here at this institution, so I encourage that if you have any questions, updates, and so on, please talk to me before or after the class, or message me here on Blackboard. The Blackboard messaging system should be the main method for sending messages rather than email, but I will respond to both, of course. We sometimes get questions about the textbook. The college uses an open educational resource, OER, for this course. This means that the textbook is available for free online. I believe that you can also purchase a physical copy of the book for a very reasonable price if you prefer. In reality, though, the pre-recorded lecture videos that I offer, supplementary material that is included in each learning module, attending to the in-person class, and completing assignments is all that you will probably need. I will also provide you with the worksheets for the labs. You also have a chance to download them from Blackboard course if you prefer an electronic version. One of the most important things is that I need to see that you are actively participating in this course during the first week of the classes. Probably the easiest way to do this is by showing up to the in-person lab. If you do not attend it, and if I do not see any assignments submitted by you, I believe that the college will automatically drop you from this class when I report that you were not in attendance. So please try to make sure that it does not happen to you. It is always best to communicate with me if you are unable to come to the class. Please make sure that if for some reason you decide not to continue in this class later on, that you actually withdraw yourself from this class with the prescribed timeline and process. This is because if you do just simply disappear, it does not indicate to us that you wish not to continue, and you will be assigned a grade to your transcript. Here I have provided you with an idea of how the points that count towards your final grade work. It is possible that there are changes, but it does not often happen, so I would let you know if that was the case. Basically, for each chapter that we study, and you will do this online using the materials that I have provided in your learning module, I have a short quiz for you. You can attempt these quizzes typically 3 times, and your best grade is used for the final grade calculation. Make sure that you complete the quiz though by the deadline. Also, each week when we meet in person, you will complete a worksheet regarding the lab or labs that we are working on that week. This worksheet is what I look for you to submit back to me via Blackboard to get the points for the lab. However, in order to get the points for the lab, you have to attend the lab, not just send in the worksheet. Often there is data collection and other activities that will help with the worksheet during the in-person lab time. I usually aim that by the time you leave the in-person lab, you should have most, if not all, of the answers to the lab worksheet. We also have 4 tests for this course. You will complete these online. I have provided a study guide and a pre-recorded review session for preparing for each of these exams as well. Please make sure that you complete those by the due date as well. There is a lot of other information on the syllabus about what is expected and allowed in this course. Basically, do not cheat, behave well, and do the elements that count towards your final grade. All work that you submit should be your own. As an institution, we have support available for students who have a documented disability. Remember that disabilities come in many forms and not all of them are visible. Please contact the Student Accessibility Services if you believe that this applies to you, and they will work with you. I think that covers our syllabus. Now let's have a look at the schedule. So I like to offer my students a schedule that lists all of the assignments and due dates for those for the entire semester. During our weekly in-person meeting time, we will complete our lab or labs of the week. As we work through the lab, make sure to fill in your lab worksheet. I'm aim for you to have this fully or nearly fully completed by the time you leave the class. However, you still need to upload the worksheet to BlackBoard under an assignment that for that lab found within that week's learning module. Please make sure to submit the lab worksheet or sheets from each week by the end of the day on Sunday at the very latest. In addition, you will see that I have occasionally virtual labs for you to complete. For example, during the first week of the classes, I ask you to complete the lab on lab safety. This will be completed on BlackBoard. Again, make sure to get it in by the due date. Starting week 2 of this course, I have also study material for you on BlackBoard. Under that week's learning module, you will find intended learning outcomes for the chapter that we are looking at, slideshow presentation that may be helpful, a pre-recorded lecture by me, and often other supplementary material like handouts, diagrams, or pictures. Once you have studied this material, take a quiz on the chapter's content. You can take the quiz 3 times, usually, with your best score counting towards your final grade. You will notice that I schedule most of the assignments to be due by the end of the week. This does not mean that you have to, nor should you, leave it until Sunday evening to do those. I encourage you to start early. Work through the material so that you have time to ask me if you need help or technical issues come up. Often the chapter material also closely aligns with the lab, so it may be helpful that you have studied it before the in-person class. I also have 4 exams scheduled for you throughout the semester. Again, you will see their due dates on the schedule. These cover the chapter material from the chapters preceding that exam. There is no one cumulative final exam. Finally, sometimes experiments for some labs may take several weeks to complete. In these cases, make sure to still submit the worksheet at the end of the week when the lab is finished. I think that's about it for this video. As always, I am here to help and will gladly answer any questions either when we meet next week or via BlackBoard messages.